Okay, our cardinal lesson today, we're going to be teaching you about three types of annuities. And we want to keep in mind, as we've shared on a lot of videos, there's many, many different types of annuities. And they're used for different purposes. And consumers tend to just view the word annuity as all into one. And there's several different types, and we're going to talk about three of them today. And these are the three that we typically use most frequently in implementing financial plans. And as you go through here, you'll get a sense of why we use these particular annuities, because we're going to go through some examples. So I want to bring Tom on, and I want him to share with you why we're doing this video today.
Yeah, we're doing this video really because these are tools that we use a lot in our practice, and they're often sort of confused. People don't understand, and they can be very useful ways to remove market risk, to really shore up a financial plan. And so we just want to give you some examples of things, of ways to use these annuities that might work well for you. I'm going to bring up the show notes real quick, and then we'll get to the board here. And so you can find these show notes at the link below our video. They're also on our website under the Learning Center. Really, we have the board, we have the examples. I'm not going to spend a lot of time going through them, but I will point out on each of the illustrations we're going to walk through on the board, all the numbers on the board are highlighted. So you can sort of match things back up to what we have on the board. That was the first one. This is the second one, again highlighted, and the third one is here. And so we'll get into more when we're going through the board. We'll get into more exactly how this works, but you can find all this information in the show notes.
Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about today, single premium immediate annuity, and it's abbreviated, or the acronym is SPIA, S-P-I-A. And it typically, we use these a lot, and when we use them, a single premium immediate annuity many times includes a payment for life. When the certainty or there's uncertainty, you don't know how long you're going to live. And typically, when we do write these payments with payments for life on SPIAs, they include two lives, the husband and the wife, and the one that lives the longest continues getting the annuity payments for the rest of their life. Okay. And in the example where we use it very frequently, it's not a payment for life, it's a payment for 5 years. And where we use this most often is when somebody's 65 years old, they're coming into us about Medicare. We end up doing a financial plan for them, and we look at all their resources, and we just determine that it's going to be best for one of them with the larger check to delay Social Security, taking it till 70. And then they're thinking, well, what am I going to live on? How am I going to? I need that money. I want that money. And so if they have a relatively large IRA, and that's person dependent what the definition of large is, relative to all their assets, is they can, in this example, they can take $100,000 of their IRA at 65, move it to this SPIA, and it will kick out a check for $1,856.57 for 5 years until they're 70. And if they needed $3,700 a month, we just put $200,000 in here, or somewhere in between. They needed more than that, we'd get approaching $300,000. So we use this frequently as a replacement for Social Security, and there's an inherent interest rate in here, and we could calculate that for you individually if we're going to be recommending one of these for you. But we're just trying to show you an example of tools where you just set aside some of your money, deplete it over 5 years, and then you're letting the rest of your money grow during that time to make up for the loss of principal. But it works, in this example, the first check starts December 7th, 2023, and the last check comes in November 7th, 2028. So it's a replacement for a Social Security check. I want to bring Tom on, and Tom's going to share a few things about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hans was exactly right. Is we oftentimes will use this type of annuity when we have a defined period of time that we need to create an income, and we want to remove the market risk. We had a video a couple of weeks ago on sequence of returns risk. this is one way that we can mitigate that risk is we put some money aside. We have a guaranteed income that's not subject to market performance at all. It doesn't matter what the market's doing. It allows you to be able to leave your other investments that are still invested in the market alone, where you're not having to worry about the market dropping, you pulling money out, and you potentially having a really bad sort of sequence where that account starts going down pretty quickly. So this is a tool we can use when we're doing this in a plan. We're often solving for a specific income number. So we used 100,000 in the example just to sort of illustrate it. But really, when we do this in a plan, we will look to see sort of what the shortfall from an income standpoint is. We'll solve for that, and then we build out the rest of the income plan sort of through that, just to give you a little insight of how we use this tool in our practice.
Okay. So then the next one we're talking about today is a fixed indexed annuity. And what that means is it's fixed, meaning it's not variable. It's not going to go up and down with the market. The up part might have some correlation with the market because it's based on an fixed indexed annuity. So, and the types that we typically sell, which is this one, the performance is not one of the biggest factors that we're looking for. It's the promise of a guaranteed income starting at some point in the future, where we can give you that number that you're going to get for the rest of both of your lives. We can give you that number now when you apply. And I've got an example right here laid out on the board. So sometimes we match this thing up, this annuity, where it's going to create 1,856.57 or whatever amount you select. For 5 years, it's going to end in 2028. So we can have the income turned on for this the very next month. Now, if we're going to match up 1,800 a month, we're going to have to put way more than 100,000 in here. So we also have a way of matching these two up. And typically when we do that, we're going to go back to this one and make it last like 7 or 8 years when we're going to replace it, because this thing performs the best of giving that long for it to bake or to increase the annual or monthly payments that you're going to receive for the rest of your life. So let me just explain that. So you put in $100,000, two people 65 years old, born in the same month, just to make things simple. And if they buy this on November 15th, 2023, and it goes in force, they could start the income right away, or they could start it the next year, the next year, the next year. So you don't have to pick this date on the front end. I'm just illustrating, if you end up choosing this date, I can tell you right now what your monthly income is going to be. And then I can guarantee, the insurance company guarantees that monthly income for the rest of the second person's life. So, if the man dies at 80 and the woman lives to 95 or 98, they're going to be really glad they bought this thing, because she's going to be getting checks all the way up to her death. In any case, if you started it in 2028, you'd get $783 a month for life for two people. Not double that, but it's $783 as long as the second person lives, or $9,400 a year. But you might get to 2028 and say, I don't really need the money now. I want to wait a little longer. 2029, it goes up to $10,300, $858 a month. And you might say, I really like this. I'm going to postpone it. And we've gone all the way out 10 years or to the 11th year, where the thing will produce $14,800. Now, keep in mind, you are now 75, turning 76, both of you. And so you obviously have a shorter life expectancy, but still that second, or the survivor of the two, may live well into their 90s. And this is going to be one of the best decisions you ever made. We also typically sell these for a lot more than 100,000. Just in the example with that, we're generally going to solve for the income we need and then work backwards to figure out how much we need to put in it to guarantee an income starting at a certain point. So it's a wonderful tool, and it can be matched with this one, or we're typically matching a Social Security check with that one. Okay, I want to bring Tom on to just make some comments about this.
Yeah, I mean, I think really what we're trying to solve here. The risk that we're trying to solve in using this second type of annuity is the longevity risk, the risk of living too long and running out of money. Which, when we ask people, that's one of the biggest concerns they have when they come in. It's like, I have this money, I want to make sure I'm okay for the rest of my life. This guarantees that you're okay for the rest of your life, because even if this account balance becomes zero, and if you live long enough, it will be a zero balance at some point, then the money, that check continues to come in for as long as either one of you are alive. If it's on a single person, these numbers are higher. They decrease the income when they're paying it out for two lives. So just know that. But again, like Hans said, we're really trying to solve for the income, and it doesn't always necessarily have to match that first one, that immediate annuity, because we use the first one to delay Social Security, and then the second one comes in, and you get to add Social Security to that number. We're really trying to keep your income consistent kind of throughout your retirement. And so again, everyone's situation is different. The amounts are different. We're really trying to look at the whole income situation when we're doing these plans. Another point I will make, and this is a question we get frequently, is what happens if I do this and then unexpectedly die? Let's say you have an accident, a car accident, whatever it might be. Well, the remaining account balance in this annuity would go to your beneficiary. So that money is not gone. It's still on your balance sheet. It grows based off the index, but again, that's not the primary purpose of this one. And then if you were to pass away, the remaining balance in that would go to your kids, or I guess if both spouses passes away, it would go to your kids. And then on the first one, I failed to mention, the one, if we have it designed to pay out for 5 years, that one, someone is going to get a check for the 5 years. And so if you start the payments, you go 3 years, and both of you pass away, there's still 2 years left of that 5 years. Your beneficiaries will continue to get that check for the 5 years. So that money isn't gone. It's just, it might not be coming to you because you're no longer here.
Okay. Now, the third product or annuity that we use quite a bit is the multi-year guaranteed annuity, MYGA or MIGA. And so what does a MIGA do? It's pretty simple. It has a short term to it relative to an annuity that you leave the money there for life. Like the example that we have here is 5 years. We can really go as high as 10. We can go as short as 1 year, although most people don't bother with this for 1 year. We have, what we typically do is there's some 2 years. We can create a ladder with these, so we can have a 2 year, a 3 year, a 4 year. We can do a whole bunch of stuff. And we don't typically just come out with 100,000 and show it to somebody. When we're doing financial planning, we're looking at their whole situation. And it could be that they've got some money, a portfolio of investments, and then they've got a safer portion of that, which they're using bonds, or we're helping them with that. And we're trying to get like a 60-40 mix of equities and bonds. And perhaps they just don't really like bonds, or the bonds can go up and down in value as well. But think about 2022. So we'll use these as a plug for that safe portion. People could have money in the bank, and if it's not IRA money, if it's just money in the bank, whatever interest they're getting, they're paying taxes on that. If it's a non-qualified account, with these things, you can defer the taxes as long as you leave the interest in the annuity. So that's a real benefit. Interest rates have gone up significantly on these over the last couple of years. And 2 years ago, we were offering this same type of annuity, and on 5 years, you were getting 3.25%. So that's up. What the one we're showing you here is right now, and that's what's available. You call us in, it might be different because these things change every month. They can change more frequently than that. But right now, we can lock in 6.15% for 5 years. And if you put $100,000 in this annuity, and the illustrations in the thing there in the show notes, $135,109 is what you'll have accumulated in 5 years. And that's guaranteed. It isn't going to change. Principal's guaranteed. Now, the next alternative, and we have some people that do this, is they want to get their interest every month. Now, if that's non-qualified money or just money in the bank that you're moving to this and you're getting a check every month, well, you're going to have to pay taxes on that interest. That's going to count on your tax return. If you leave it there to accumulate, it's not until you draw it out. And you can roll it over 5 years from now. But this option is just real simple. We could start sending you a check, or the insurance company could, for $512.50 a month. And they're going to send you that check every month for 60 months. And that's based on 100,000. You can buy up to 1 million of these things. And we usually spread them around a little bit with different companies, different terms, so that, by a 5-year and a 3-year, or there's all kinds of ways that we construct this. But the simple thing is it's principal, interest, and then it has an end. And at the end, you can just roll it over into another one of these, and then you'll be accepting what interest rates are at that time. So I want to bring Tom on and have him talk about the MIGA a little bit.
Yeah, this is really the simplest type of annuity out there. I mean, it's very much like a CD. I mean, it's not a CD, but it acts very similarly, right? You have a fixed interest rate, a known one that's guaranteed. It's for a set number of years. The period of time can change, and it just pays you that interest. And so, what this really does from a financial planning standpoint is really removes the market risk from this piece of your investments. And so, when we're doing these plans, we like to think about what are these tools really designed to do? And the whole goal here is to reduce different risks throughout the plan. So that first one, the SPIA, the single premium immediate annuity, really removes or mitigates the sequence of returns risk on that portion of the money. The fixed indexed annuity with the lifetime income really removes or mitigates the longevity risk, outliving your money, living too long. And this MIGA just really removes the market risk, is that you get a known interest rate. 6.15% is really good. I mean, that's starting to get close to what you might expect in just a traditional investment account with a mix of stocks and bonds. And it's all guaranteed with no market risk, no interest rate risk, no fluctuations from ups and downs on the equity side. I mean, it's really powerful. And if you are sitting here watching your investment account move up and down and it really just worries you, you wake up at night worrying what's going on in the markets, something like this for a portion of your money could really make a lot of sense for you.
Yeah, okay. And these are just 3 of the tools we use, but these are the ones we use the most frequently. And with many of our clients, they're buying multiple MIGAs in different denominations. And then many of them are buying multiple fixed indexed annuities with an income rider. Most of these that we write have that income rider. They have that guaranteed future income that'll start at a chosen point and then it'll go for the rest of their life. People will buy these in a series of accounts so they can turn the income on at different times, maybe leave one of them there for a long time and have a much higher income to account for inflation. There's also a reason people do these in denominations, because they want to do Roth conversions where they want to turn an IRA, traditional IRA, into a Roth. And with annuity, typically you got to convert the whole thing. So we'll sell denominations of this, which gets a little confusing for them, not us. But it gives you a lot of options and it gives you a lot of tax options. With this, we don't typically sell multiple amounts of that. It's really not necessary. So I want to talk about financial planning. We've been talking about financial planning and the 7 worries. I mean, we talked today about Social Security. We've hit that. We haven't really hit on long-term care, but I want to add something. This has a long-term care enhancement. It's not long-term care insurance, but if you purchase one of these, both on you and your spouse, there's a long-term care enhancement feature in this that we didn't really talk about today. All 3 of these annuities, and most that we sell, are available with IRA money. They're also available with just regular money, non-qualified money. These are all about income because that's what we're doing is we're creating income for you, either now or in the future. They have an estate planning effect in the sense that your principal is not gone with these two, even though they have the word annuity. And with this one, your principal is effectively gone, but there's an estate benefit of if you were to both die during the 5 years, or just the one of you dies, the remainder of the 5 years will continue paid to the beneficiary. So they have an estate planning, and we talked a little bit about taxes. So with that, I want to bring Tom back on. I'm Hans Scheil.
And I'm Tom Griffith.
We thank you very much for listening.
Thank you.